Deuteronomy 27 talks about that someone was cursed if they weren't looking at for widows and girls, boys, and so you can see it's extremely important from Jehovah's perspective, the punishment. That's right.
So it makes the point that their care that they took of the fatherless boy was really a measuring line of their spiritual health, and it reminds us of the James 1:27, where it talks about the form of worship that is clean and undefiled from the standpoint of our God and Father is to look after orphans and widows in their tribulation and keep oneself without spot from the world. So it really was a measuring line of their appreciation for spiritual things and how they treated the fatherless.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about fatherless boys. What does that really entail? It's not just one group of boys. There's really more to it, isn't there?
So we know it's not just boys, but it can include all those who, not just those who may have lost their fathers to death, but those who might not have fathers actively in their lives, or those who don't have fathers who are in the congregation or spiritual heads of their families. And it's so important because we see how Jehovah wants to take care of them because they're lacking that defense and they're disadvantaged in that way. And he uses us to show that concern and to express his love through us.
Yeah, thank you.
In the opening part of the September broadcast, Brother Winder talks about a wide group that is advantaged. So this can be many people.
Yeah, the point. Bereaved, defenseless.
And really, it does encompass widows, widowers, all of these. And the one thing that when I was looking this over, is that it's not just for a couple weeks you want to be controlling. This could go on with widows, widowers, the fatherless children. It takes a long time to get over the death of some family members. So it is a congregation. It's nice to know that there be those that might even gone through it, can feel it. And so it encompasses everything.
Yeah, we appreciate that. What a great to be included here, and we apply it very well, and our congregation is something to be commended for that.
And just thinking on that, if it brings out there that brothers can qualify to serve, not as ministerial servants, but as elders by the time that they're 20 or mid-20s, our sisters are in the same capacity. Though they don't serve as elders, they too, when they're at these ages, can be, like we're all trying to be, pillars of rock in the congregation. We look to Jehovah as this the greatest of all rocks, immovable, steadfast, loyal. But yet, if we can all imitate those qualities, we can have that in many different individuals in the congregation.
Thank you, Max. Also, these qualities will help us, with our assignments in our congregation and responsibilities in the congregation, and they'll also help us to help prepare us to be future elders and ministerial servants. Thank you, Max.
And I was also thinking about the changes that the branch has made recently. We can think of being able to use unbaptized brothers now for things like mic and AV and stage. So they want to start even younger. And we might think of they're not baptized, they're not old enough yet. No, we can use them. We can train them. That way, by the time they're their early, mid-20s, they might be able to serve.
Very true. Isn't that awesome? We have our young brothers doing our mics right now. Even Matt. Very good. All right, so let's move on to
Ben?
Yeah, growing up with the Trinity, it's a little confusing, but it's starting to make a little bit more sense.
Right. That's good. I'm glad you thought that. So what we'll do is we'll move into this next section because it will help open that up a little bit more. So it says the following scriptures help us to understand the relationship between Jehovah and Jesus. So we're going to read these scriptures, and I want you to read them. Then we're going to ask these questions, and then just see what you think about them. So do you feel like reading that first scripture for us? Luke chapter 1.
Sure. So the angel said to her, "Do not be afraid, Mary, for you have found favor with God. And look, you will become pregnant and give birth to a son, and you are to name him Jesus. This one will be great and will be called Son of the Most High, and Jehovah God will give him the throne of David his father.
Excellent, thank you. So the question for that asks, how did the angel describe the relationship between Jesus and Jehovah God the Most High?
Well, it's said there in verse 32, he's the Son of the Most High.
Right.
Yeah.
So again, just to make that super clear, who is the Most High that we're referring to in this scripture?
Looks like it's Jehovah,
Okay. So what would Jesus' relationship with him be according to that verse?
the Son of him.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a pretty simple concept, right?
Right.
Yeah, it says it right there in that verse. So let's open this up some more. Let's read that next scripture in Matthew chapter 3. Could you read that?
Sure. After being baptized, Jesus immediately came up from the water, and look, the heavens were opened up, and he saw God's Spirit descending like a dove and coming on upon him. Look, also a voice from the heavens said, "This is my Son, the beloved, whom I have approved."
Okay, so this one's even kind of harder to argue with. It asks there, at Jesus' baptism, what did the voice from heaven say, and whose voice do you think that was?
Well, like you said, not much argument here. It's the Son, continuously saying the Son, and I assume that'd be Jehovah that was speaking from the heavens.
Right, that's it. It's Jehovah's voice directly from the heavens, and he's addressing Jesus as his Son. Straight from Jehovah's mouth at that point. Very good. Let's read that next one. John 14:28.
Sure. You heard that I said to you, I am going away, and I am coming back to you. If you loved me, you would rejoice that I am going to the Father, for the Father is greater than I am.
Okay, so this is looking a little bit about the relationship as well now, personally. So that first question is, who is older and has more authority, a father or a son?
Well, obviously, Father taught us everything that we need.
Right. Your human father
Yeah.
teaches you, raises you, gives you that experience that he has, right?
Right.
So thinking about Jesus then, that next question asks, what did Jesus mean when he called Jehovah his father?
Well, it's kind of going into how the Father, like it says in the scripture, Father is greater than I am. So it's showing a lot of respect, showing a hierarchy almost.
Yeah, Jesus is almost showing in his very words right there in that verse that he recognizes that Jehovah
Right.
was the one that taught him, right? Because he is, again, his father,
Right.
right? And let's look at that last one, John 12. And if you want to read verse 49.
Sure. For I have not spoken of my own initiative, but the Father who sent me has himself given me a commandment about what to say and what to speak.
Excellent. So that question might seem unusual, but it says, does Jesus think that he and his father are the same person? Or what do you think?
Well, after reading these scriptures, it'd be weird to call yourself son and father at the same time and have voices come from different areas. So it's pointing pretty clearly that they're not the same person.
Right. If the words that Jesus spoke came from Jehovah, then we couldn't say that
Right.
Jesus couldn't
Yeah.
say what he said in that verse, could he?
No.
Because he would be speaking of his own initiative, wouldn't
Right.
he? But it wasn't that. Jehovah again gave him the commandment, taught him what to say and what to speak. So that's from the Bible, right there. Explains just very simply, but very clearly, doesn't it? That concept that Jesus is not God. Two separate people. So let's go on now and let's look at point number 5, because this looks at how Jesus proved to be the Messiah. So we're going to see how he actually fulfilled Bible prophecy as well.
Alrighty.
Okay.